Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, we are going to start covering news consistently on this channel. It's something that I've been wanting to do, and I also want to reach out to more people, more of a different audience as well. Grow, I feel like it is good and healthy to be covering the news consistently. Now, we are going to be covering stuff super related to crypto, like either directly or things that can affect the economy for the better or the worse that will affect crypto. Okay, so without further ado, let's just jump right into it. I am uploading 5 videos today, so we're going to see how everything unfolds. Probably going to try to keep this schedule for at least a week or two to see how it is with the algorithm, with the views, with your guys' engagement. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. We can see from Watcher Guru, right? Total spot ETF volume surpasses 6 billion today, right? So very, very high, right? The news has been really, really good. The volume has been fantastic surrounding Bitcoin, and even altcoins are slowly, gradually going up, but it's more, it's more about the Bitcoin show as of right now. Now, here's the big thing, right? Here's a big piece of news. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell reportedly considers resigning. Okay, so statement from chairman of the board, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, on reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I'm encouraged by reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I think that this will be the right direction for America and the economy will bloom. It's from Washington, D.C. So if you guys don't know, Trump has been putting a lot of pressure on him to cut the rates. And I'm sure there's other people behind the scenes that are telling him cut the rates and some that are saying don't, right? Obviously he's not just literally a one-man show, but this might be a lot of pressure. He is getting older. He's probably like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I'm retired. I'm good. I could step down. I could go to a different role. I could just retire. I could just, I don't know, get my pension plan. I don't know what he can do, right? But he probably doesn't want to be in this heat and spotlight 24/7. Now, personally, if he steps down and we have a yes man to Trump, and they start listening to Trump 24/7, we start getting rate cuts, guys, this is going to be extremely beneficial for crypto. If you guys don't know, right, if interests go up, that is a net negative for crypto. If they stay the same, it is still a small W. Okay, it's still a small W. If they get cut, it is a big W. Okay, it's a massive W. So of course we want them to be getting cut. And the good thing about rate cuts is that we can still technically cut a whole 3 points, right? Because we cut 0.25, 0.50. We still have so much cutting potential to when, eventually it's going to hit a point where they probably won't have to cut it or they won't. But we still have so much to go in terms of its potential that truly, right, this would be a good thing for crypto. Now, some more news, right? If you guys don't know, this Jim Cramer guy, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. To be honest, I don't care because I don't respect him enough. He says Bitcoin equal tough own. Unlikely that Bitcoin finds its footing. And this was back in 2024, right? And it's been up 200% since he said this. Now, here's the thing, right? There's a reason why you can't follow some of these old heads. They are simply behind in times. They simply don't have the vision. And some of them might be actually getting paid off, for all we know, to speak bad about Bitcoin. Now, is that really going to affect the markets? No, but it might affect your personal decision if you are following the wrong people. So, you know what? This guy has been anti-Bitcoin for the longest time. And the fact that, he's continuously proven wrong just feels nice, right? It just feels nice. I don't know how you can be possibly a bear in this market. I feel like you have to have zero experience with technical analysis, and you clearly must be brain dead and ignoring all the news that's positive surrounding crypto, altcoins, stable coins, and just all the adoption. Like, I don't know. I seriously don't know how you can be a bear, right? We can see that the US government records, I believe this is a 27 billion budget surplus in June, the first monthly surplus since 2005, right? We can all see that the US Director of Digital Assets says, huge week ahead, time to make America the crypto capital of the world. Now, we've been talking about this, how America is going to try to be the crypto capital of the world for a while, right? For a while, we've been talking about it because America, it's America, man. They not only do they kind of lead in terms of the economy and how the world works, right? Because pretty much the dollar, it's like gold, the dollar, and then like everyone trades in the dollar and etc. Right? That's why when things start going wrong with America, some type of this or that's kind of negative, that's usually when gold goes up, right? Because gold is like the safe haven. But everything is kind of backed by the American dollar, and America always wants to put its foot into things and wants to be first. I'm not even American, and I even know this, right? I even know this. So yeah, I believe they will be one of the top dogs. I obviously do believe China will be getting involved, probably Russia. I mean, they already are slowly, and eventually some of these top tier countries. We also have some, second and third world countries that have been involved in Bitcoin for some time, but of course they have a much lower impact. But still, it is a domino effect. It is a domino effect at the end of the day. Now we can see we are going to listen to this clip because, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that, Jim Cramer, whatever the guy we just talked about, says that JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon was wrong about Bitcoin. And let's listen to this clip right now.
Refused to even talk about Bitcoin,
right?
Which now outpaces a 10-year gain of Nvidia, Amazon, Netflix, Tesla.
He may have gotten that wrong. He may have gotten Bitcoin wrong. The thing he's gotten right is he's been the CEO since 2006.
What he's gotten right is that JP Morgan's got an $800 billion market
What he's got
value.
right is that next week,
and that's what shareholders care about. When it comes to his predictions, I'm always happy to listen, because how can you not listen? And by the way, it's always refreshing because he actually speaks his mind in a way that many CEOs are incapable of doing.
He does.
That said,
does.
he's not right a lot.
Okay, so David
refused to.
It's not right a lot. Listen, that's crazy. You go from saying, oh, he was wrong, to then just glazing him and his company. Like, yeah, both can be true, but like if that's your just counter argument, it's very, very weak. Because the thing is, it's like, you know what? It's okay to be wrong. It is. I'm wrong sometimes. I really am. Sometimes I'm wrong with my technical analysis. Sometimes I'm wrong with my predictions. You guys are wrong too with certain stuff. We are all wrong in life at one point. We all make mistakes. We all sometimes even lie. We all do this. We all do that. It's okay. It's part of being human, right? The fact that, instant glazing right after, he's saying he's wrong, obviously just makes it like, it just looks very, very weak. But of course, right, this is Jim. Jim was defending him, and Jim is Jim, right? Jim is Jim. Obviously, we had some news surrounding XRP hitting 170 billion market cap. Now, we do have this video that, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's loading, but pretty much it's an AI video of someone dancing around, because Michael Saylor looks to be looking at a 28 billion unrealized Bitcoin profit, which probably will still hit another, 12, 15, 20 billion when Bitcoin continues to dominate. I do think Bitcoin is probably going to cycle up between 150 to 170 this cycle. We'll obviously have to see. So he's still in for, I would say, in my opinion, at least another 10 billion in profit. Now, one of the last and final things we are going to cover for today, and by the way, we will switch up the format. Sometimes we're going to be looking at this. Sometimes we're going to be looking at a different site. Sometimes we're going to be looking more at articles, right? Is going to be that this senator, right, says that her crypto tax bill would put an end to unfair tax practices at the playing field for digital assets, and level the playing field for digital assets, right? So, she wants to make things fair. She wants to make things good. Let's see what she has to say, and then we're going to give our opinions, and we are going to end the video right over there.
It is now, and that's why we want to discuss the digital asset tax legislation, because there's a whole lot of parts of this. But again, it's smart stuff, because listen, the more it grows, we want to make sure people are protected with taxes. You want to talk about the most important parts of this?
I do. There's a part that would prevent the double taxation of digital assets. Right now, they're taxed when they're identified, and they're taxed again when they're sold. We don't do that with things like gold and cattle. We tax them when they're sold. And so we need to change that for digital assets. We're also sponsoring legislation that would create a de minimis amount that people could spend. When we're using Bitcoin as a means of exchange, we want to have a de minimis amount that can be used and spent without being subject to taxation. That amount would be about $5,000 per year. So those are a couple of the main provisions.
Very, very good. Very, very nice. She makes great points. And I do think they are going to balance crypto tax out to make things more fair and at a, even level playing field, right? I do think they will be doing that because obviously they want to be pro crypto. They want to eventually, of course, they want to make some type of money, but they also don't want to be too harsh on investors. They want things to get pumped up and etc. But yeah, ultimately that is it, ladies and gentlemen. A first little rough trial, roughly. We did do some news coverage a couple months ago, but let me know what you guys think. That is it, and I hope you guys have a great day. Goodbye.